All right, let's talk about something fascinating and honestly a little weird, our relationship with artificial intelligence. I want you to think about this for a sec. Have you ever been talking to a chatbot, maybe you were venting about a bad day or asking for advice, and the response you got back just hit different? Like it really got you? If you're nodding along, you are definitely not alone. It's the super powerful, really common feeling, even when you know, logically, you're just typing to a piece of code. And believe it or not, there's actually a name for this. It's called the ELIZA Effect, and it's basically our brain's default setting to assume there's a person on the other end of a conversation, even when there absolutely isn't. The story of how we figured this out, it's almost as wild as the effect itself. Now, you might think this is a new thing, something that came along with all the fancy AI we have today, but nope. This was actually discovered completely by accident, like way back, over 50 years ago. So picture this. It's 1966. We're at MIT. And a computer scientist named Joseph Weizenbaum creates this surprisingly simple little program. He called it ELIZA. Look, Weizenbaum wasn't trying to create a conscious AI or anything like that. His goal was way simpler. He just wanted to see if a computer could fake its way through a natural-sounding conversation. So he wrote this one script for ELIZA, he called it Doctor, and it was designed to act like a very specific kind of therapist, the kind that mostly just reflects your own words back at you. I mean, just look at this example. It's so simple, right? ELIZA has zero understanding of what's being said. It's just programmed to find keywords and basically parrot the sentence back as a question. My boyfriend made me come here becomes, your boyfriend made you come here? It's a neat trick, a kind of digital sleight of hand, but that's all it is. And yet, this is where things get really weird. People fell for it hard. They started pouring their hearts out to this simple program. They felt like it truly understood them, and they formed actual emotional attachments to it. It was so powerful that it completely blew the mind of the guy who made it. Weizenbaum was just shocked. In his own words, he said he saw his relatively simple computer program cause powerful delusional thinking in quite normal people. He realized he hadn't just built a fun little program. He had accidentally uncovered this deep, strange quirk in how our brains work. So what's going on here? Why are our brains so easily fooled by what's basically a glorified parrot? Well, it turns out it's not really a bug in our system. It's a feature of our social programming that's suddenly being triggered by something totally new. Okay, so here's the deal. Our brains are hardwired to be mind finders. We're constantly automatically on the lookout for signs of another consciousness out there. Things like language, back and forth conversation, stuff that looks like empathy. And when our brain finds something that checks those boxes, its first instinct is to go, aha, a person. It's a mental shortcut that was super useful for surviving in a social world, right? But now, in the digital age, that shortcut can get, hijacked. And actually, this same little glitch in our brains explains a whole bunch of other weirdly human things we do. I mean, think about it. It's why we talk to our pets like they get every word. It's why we name our cars. It's why we yell at our computers when they freeze. And it's why, for a split second, we might actually feel a little warmth when an ATM screen says thank you. We know they're not people, but our social brain just can't help itself. It's just itching to connect with anything that seems remotely like a person. Okay, so let's jump back to the present day. If a super simple program from the 60s could do that to people, just imagine what today's incredibly advanced AI models can do. The ELIZA effect isn't just happening anymore, it's been supercharged. The difference between then and now is, it's just mind-boggling. You had ELIZA, which was basically just a fancy find and replace tool. And now? Now we have AIs that have digested huge chunks of the internet. They aren't just matching keywords. They are predicting the most human-sounding, most nuanced response possible. The illusion isn't just a parlor trick anymore. It's a masterpiece. And you can see this supercharged effect everywhere. People are venting their deepest secrets to chatbots. They're forming real emotional bonds with AI companions. They're treating their smart speakers, Siri or Alexa, like actual confidants. That line between a helpful tool and a friend, it's getting really, really blurry. Which, of course, brings us to the tricky part. Because when the imitation of empathy gets this good, we really have to start talking about the risks. The risks of, fake empathy. See, when we get caught up in the ELIZA effect, we can start to overtrust the advice an AI gives us, forgetting it has zero life experience. We can end up developing these really intense, one-sided emotional attachments to a machine that, let's be real, can't care back. And maybe the biggest danger of all is that we start to mistake a really good simulation of empathy for the real thing. And that's why it's so important to keep one thing straight in our heads: the difference between what an AI looks like it's doing and what's actually happening under the hood. So, no matter how understanding or personal a response feels, we have to remember what's not going on. That AI isn't feeling a thing. It doesn't get your history or your struggles. It has no consciousness, no hidden agenda. All it is, at its core, is an incredibly sophisticated prediction engine, just guessing the next word in a sentence to sound as human as possible. That's it. So when you put it all together, the weird psychology, the history, the sheer power of this new tech, it all points to a really big question we need to ask ourselves about the future. Think about it. As these AI systems get better and better at faking human connection, they're always available, always patient, they never get mad, we have to face what that means for our actual, real-life relationships with other people. Because let's face it, real human relationships, they're messy, they're complicated, people are imperfect. An AI companion, on the other hand, can be programmed to be the exact opposite of all that. So the really big looming question is this: what happens when the artificial version starts to feel easier, or maybe even better, than the real thing? And that's the challenge that the ELIZA Effect, this little accident from the 60s, has left on our doorstep. Definitely something to chew on. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.